Hello, so today I'm going to be doing a walk from the railway station at Colwyn Bay along the coastal path again in North Wales, heading back towards where I live at the back of Prestatyn there. So it's going to be about I reckon about a 12-mile walk, so just over freezing point, and it's getting on for like 11:30 in the morning, so it's a nice bright day now, quite chilly, so we're just going to leave the railway station and head down onto the coast, and we'll take it from there. So literally just leaving the station forecourt, you can see here that there's a path that takes you down towards the promenade, which will take us under the railway track, which just runs along the top here. You can see now that the path just goes under the railway line and heads across to what used to be the full-size pier at Colwyn Bay. You can see that the sign says there that Prestatyn is just to the left. We're going to head towards Port Arias, which I'll point out in a minute. But just an old historical thing from my past, when this was a full pier back in the late 70s, early 80s, I actually saw the Specials play on there, and we were dancing there. The pier floor was absolutely shaking. It was a fantastic day. So just going to head along the coast, and the next big town over there, you can just see on the headland over there is Rhyl, and we're going to be heading towards that and beyond towards Prestatyn. So this development here that you can see is called Port Arias. Probably not the best Welsh pronunciation, but it's there's a small theatre inside and a couple of retail things where you can buy like sailboards and things like that. But on the end there's a very nice sort of seafood restaurant run by a guy called Bryn Williams, one of the sort of famous Welsh chefs. And his other sort of claim to fame, or vice versa, is that he's a guy that's married to the lead singer from Texas, Charlene Spiteri. That's it. Their names are sort of, I forgot for a second, but he's based out of there. Quite nice if you like your seafood. So as we're leaving the sort of central Colwyn Bay area now, you can look back, and the hill at the back there is the little Orme that I pointed out on a recent video when I was walking around the Great Orme, and that village that town underneath it's called Prestatyn. What we're heading up to here is the start of some new sea defences that are being constructed, which I'll highlight in a second when I get a little bit closer to. But the actual old version of the coastal path gets blocked off here, and we have to do a little detour just underneath the railway line and up onto the path that runs alongside parallel with the one that's closed. So I'll highlight that once we get to it. So this is just highlighting where the old footpath's closed. We just have to cross this road here and pick up the path on the other side for a section. So once again there's another diversion, and whereas the path would normally go down that side there, behind that fence, they've actually dug all that up now. So we're going to get, I've just had a word with the guy that's on the gate, and basically we've got to take a walk up onto the main road in town in Colwyn Bay, and then pick the coastal path up a bit further around. So a little bit of an unusual diversion, but we'll be okay, learn it as we go along. So I'm just following these diversion signs, heading back basically under the A55, and following the track up. So we're just headed up from the railway tracks under the A55, and the guy said when we get to the top by this little roundabout we just take a left and follow these diversion signs. So hopefully we'll be back on track soon. So I've just turned off the main road and gone down onto what's one that's called Beach Road, which might, I'm sort of sailing a little bit. There's not much 4G reception around it, so it could be quite interesting, but I'm heading back down towards the beach to see if we can pick up the path. This is quite a nice little detour actually, just having never been on this particular road before, so even if it turns out to be the wrong way, which we'll find out in a second. It's been a nice little explore. So just heading back to the flyover for the A55 again, and this is where we would have come out had the original path been open, which is when I took the detour back into Colwyn. So I'm hoping to be able to get where the green sign is over there, back onto the coastal plain, onto the coastal path I should say, and pick up the second half of this leaving part of Colwyn. So let's just see. Hopefully this part will be open. We'll soon find out. Heading back down under the A55 on the railway track. Let's get down to this corner. Yeah, and the path opens again here. So that's what's closed, and we're back open on the same part of the track as it would have been had the closure not taken place. So I'll give you a bit more of an indication about the extent of the works they're doing. They're building pontoons out, lots of sea defences with the big boulders, relaying the promenade as well. So we're back on what was the old part of the coastal path. And just in the distance there you can see that curved bridge there, which is known locally as the Rainbow Bridge. More to do with the shape I think than the colour. But at least we're back on track now and we can pick up the residual part of the walk. So I'm just making my way along the path, and what you can't see just behind this headland here on the North Wales Expressway is that Rainbow Bridge that I pointed out earlier, which we'll see in a second. But right adjacent to it you can see this little rocky outcrop with the handrail going up. So we'll have a little wander up there and I'll show you the view both ways, back towards Ross-on-Sea and further on east towards Rill, etc., which is where, you know, one of the places we're walking through later on in the walk. Go. That's the Rainbow Bridge. Nothing too spectacular, but it's an interesting piece of construction. And it sounds probably a bit windy on the microphone again now, but you can see where we've left, where the pier is at Colwyn Bay, right down in the distance, and Port Arias, and the bay that picks up Ross-on-Sea, Little Orme in the distance, and then looking down to what we can see here is continuation of the coast. The bay goes round through Abergele and Pensarn. You might just be able, on this lens, you might be able to make out the Sky Tower in Rill, which we'll see a little bit later on. So what I'm going to do now is make my way down past these. It's a filling station for a local quarry, which I'll point out when we get a little bit closer to, but you can see it quite clearly from here. And all the concrete, I'm not really sure what you'd call them, but they're like a man-made sea defence which goes all the way around this bay, and we'll pick up them. They're all individually numbered, which is quite interesting, and they're all sort of built together just to hold the wall together. So we'll have a little look when we get a little bit closer to. So I'm in amongst these concrete barricades, and obviously you get the inevitable bits of graffiti on them, but they're very clever how they've been built. And you can I'll just go up to this one here, but you can see, you know, they have their own numbers and marks on. What does that say? 74X and the like. So Still quite a bit of ice up here as well on the top. It's been quite cold lately, but we'll make our way down and we'll stop near the jetty and highlight the where the stone comes down from, which is just up on that hillside there. So we're just literally approaching the stone jetty where the rock comes down from the quarry up on the hill, just up there, and then you'll see the container ships pulling down this side of the jetty, and where the little cabin is, the conveyor belt sort of turns out onto the boat and fills the boat up, brings the local stone and takes it for export. See more of the numbers on the concrete barriers. I'll just make my way up onto this little rise here, which basically just takes you over the top of the jetty come conveyor belt, and you'll have a better view of the quarry, which is up on the side of the hill. We're literally walking parallel with the A55 North Wales Expressway, so you can hear some road noise in the background, but the actual path itself is very easy to navigate, easy to walk. These little banks like this are literally, in this part of it, the highest climbs you take, so it's not so much a hill climb walk at all. It's much more better for when you want to do distance and a few miles and to see what's going on along the coastline. But if you see to the right now, just as the sun's coming over the hill, the quarry up there and the various conveyor belts. It's quite an interesting piece of construction. A couple of cyclists just coming past, and there you can see the actual conveyor going out. It's not working today, but it goes out there, and the boats pull up along this left hand side as we're looking out. So we'll head back down the slope, and just where you can see those caravans just on the hillside there is our next sort of point of interest, I suppose. If anything, it's the start of the edge of a little town called Llandulus, where there's you know, some nice vantage points, fishing points if you're interested in that, and there's some loos if you need them. So I'll just navigate this ice, I should say icy bit. There we go, and we're back down level. Right up on the top there you can see the archways of the railway line. So lots of interesting construction around here, but hopefully the path blends in nicely with the countryside as well, or with the coast anyway. So there's the jetty that we just came past, the stone jetty. We had to go over that little rise. This is I think probably the only other little rise we have to do, and I'm only speaking to it because it's a bit mundane along this part of the track. It's just, as you can see, it's just a straight concrete path. So we're heading on to Llandulus, where you can just see the reflections in the car mirrors and things down there, but we just have to make this little segue around up and over this little bank here. I think there's a bit too much erosion where these gates are to safely go that way anymore. I mean, you can do if you're careful, but the actual path itself, as you can see on the track here, takes us up this little path. And then you can just see the buzzard up in the sky there, look, just hovering over the road. I'll stand still for you. Just there. You might not pick it out with this lens, but it's a fair sized bird there, just hovering. So we're dropping back down now from the road, down onto the I guess the true sort of height of the coastal path. We've got all the grit out on the path here because it's been so frosty overnight. And we'll just see how the path swings around here now, and we'll pick up Llandulus, which is where the building is on the right down there.